today on Gamer's Couch?
The Big Book of Madness.
Ah!
School is not out apparently, because it's first of all not summer, and we're in a magician school, so
Yeah, well, they go home
no
for
vacation.
Yeah, Christmas is done.
And
they're all back.
if you've seen the movies or read the books about the little annoying one with the scar on the forehead, that's not how real wizard schools work.
No, that's...
We know, because we have grey hair on our heads, and people with grey hair are obviously wizards, so...
Yeah. Well, we are the wizards of board game talking, I guess. First of all, welcome back to the Gamer's Couch.
Wizard's Couch.
The Wizard's Couch. Christmas is done. I hope you all had a lovely time with your loved ones and enjoyed some quiet days. But now we are, well, back on the couch. It's only a couple of days to go until the new year. So we have a little belated Christmas gift to you, which is 2 videos today. The first one being this lovely discussion about Big Book of Madness. And if you're new to the channel and don't know who these crazy people are, well, let me introduce ourselves.
Duck, and this is the duck's little friend.
Very new addition to our household. Thanks to our lovely friend Tina, she made this tiny little Cthulhu, or as I call him, Q-Tulu, for Daniel as a Christmas gift. So he's a new addition to the couch. Speaking of husband, this is Daniel, my sweetheart, and I'm Sarah, the artist. You always make me laugh. I'm Sarah, the artist behind Pinselgeschichten and owner of this channel.
And I'm Daniel, left with the artist behind
the camera, whatever. So we talk board games every Sunday, and today's no exception to that. We start off with rules and gameplay of whatever given game, and that's his part to explain to you guys, because he's really good at that, usually. Don't screw up. And then we talk about what we liked or not liked about a game, and finish up the video with funny stories and experiences. So, sweetheart, are you ready to explain the Big Book of Madness to the world?
Probably not.
Try anyways. Please.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're back in school again, and as you do in school, you screw things up by experimenting and fiddling around with things you shouldn't.
That sounds dirty.
So that's pretty much what I hope everyone's chemistry class was like.
Oh,
it's like,
don't remind me.
Where people say, don't take that Bunsen burner and just
heat up
heat up everything in the room. I mean, most things are, I hope, explosion proof, but
you never know.
Something like that. Since we are on a wizard's couch, and this game is about wizard school, and my wife is presenting
the remote.
Telekinetic powers of throwing things to the floor.
I'm an ex-woman. No? Oh, well.
Something like that. So, to the game. Big Book of Madness is a cooperative game that has deck building aspects, so you'll be playing one of the school's, well, apprentices, wizards, students, kind of. And since you're students and you screwed up, what you did is you opened the Big Book of Madness, which is, interestingly enough, represented as a little book in the game, which has pages, and you flip them over and look at stuff inside. You can choose any of those characters here, and by now you can already tell, pretty cool looking students there, of 4 different elemental schools, so to speak. You've got air, earth, fire, and if you did pay attention, water. Also, each of these has a special ability, which I'm not going to read to you, but you have obviously 2 students, one for each element, and they are a little bit different. Also, you'll see what the starting elemental cards are for these guys. So you have a bunch of these 1-point elemental cards that form up your starting deck. And as you can see, Earth green, fire red, water blue, fart
Yellow.
white, or yellow, or air as the others call it. And some of them are higher value, so this is like a 2-point Earth card. It's just a way to have more elemental points during the game. And that is kind of the main aspect, having elemental points to work your way through that big book of madness. So you will randomize a big book of madness consisting of one of multiple start pages. Then you will take 5 random kind of main pages that go in here and the back face, and that then makes the Book of Madness, which you open up in the first turn, and each book page presents you with a madness, a horror, so to speak, that tries to drive you mad.
Those are monsters you have to vanquish.
And those monsters have an immediate effect that you will apply, as well as curses that will come into play. Which brings us to the game board. So you'll have the game board with the Book of Madness residing here, and that's how you flip it open. And 5 slots for cards down here, which are reserved for these curse cards. And the colors here, obviously, again, elemental, correspond with whatever the monster has you bring out in terms of curses. So in the first round, this one brings out an air, a water, and a fire curse. So from those stacks, you would draw the air curse, put it on the 2, get the fire curse, put it on the 3, and put the water curse on the second part of the 3, where other people hold their hand to prevent me from placing a curse. Now, alternating on players' turns, you will have this very cool looking little wooden book that travels around these spaces until it goes back to 1. So whenever you start at 1, you open up a new page from the book, and from there, with each player's turn, you go one step further across these book pages, turn counters, so to speak. If you happen to land with the book on one of these curse spaces, you have to resolve whatever text is down here, and that typically makes you discard cards or pick you madness cards, which we'll get to in a moment. To get rid of them, a player has in his turn to expend as many of these elemental tokens to get rid of any of the cards on the board. So if you are the start player and have 4 or a total of 4 blue or water element tokens on hand, you can play those 4 cards, discard this curse, and as a reward you get to pick a new 2-element spell. And then the next player's turn. So you kind of want to coordinate with the other players to take down curses, ideally before they happen, which, well, spoilers, obviously does not always work as intended, and you have to cheer it up. But no worries, because you don't have to defeat every monster to win the game. What you have to do to win the game is to make it through the entire book and defeat the monster that will show up with the last page. If you don't defeat that monster, then you lose the game, which is quite annoying. And it's actually this way around. The last page is always the same. It says that each player gets a madness card on top of the deck. Again, we get to madness cards soon enough. And that's for each page. So let's say you have the first page open. The other side will tell you what happens at the end of, turn 5 or after turn 5 when you flip over this page to the new monster. There's a there's a condition here that triggers if you were able to get rid of all the curses, kind of a bonus that you get assigned to for good work on cleaning up all those monsters, or a penalty if you didn't, which again makes you discard cards or get rid of cards or give you madness cards. Afterwards, page is flipped and you go on. Well, until you get to the last page. Actually, let me keep that open. And here it says if you defeat all the curses on the board, you win the game, and if you don't, you lose the game. So that's why this last page is always the same. So how are you going to do that? As we said, it's a deck building game. So among the actions you can do is with all those cool elemental cards that you have on hand, you can spend them to get either higher value cards. So you can, let's say, spend 2 Earth element tokens to get a version 2 card that goes into your discard. Well, you certainly heard about a deck building game by now, but you buy cards, it goes into your discard, and then you shuffle them once you get through. That is, by the way, also one of the ways how to get madness cards. So whenever you have to shuffle your discard pile into a new draw pile, you have to add one of those madness cards, which unfortunately don't help you at all. They don't do much except for kind of filling up your hand and annoying you for taking space for a card that could be way more useful. But they're not really doing a lot to you right now. However, as with madness, a little bit is always appreciated, but too much might get dangerous. So if you ever happen to have 6 madness cards on hand, which is kind of, you always draw up to 6 cards each turn, you are out of the game. So that is a way to get eliminated, so you don't want to go there. So how do you get rid of cards? Well, other actions you can do is you have these 4 starting spells, and each player has the same 4 starting spells. You can spend 1 green token to draw a card, and whenever you use a spell, you exhaust it. You know, exhausting, the 90-degree tapping of... No, I'm sorry.
Oh boy, now we have a copyright issue.
Or you spend a fire token, air token, to activate another player. Maybe, well, your next player has the right combination to get rid of a curse, and you don't, but you can activate him, so he gets to do 1 action, and then it goes back to you. You can spend a red fire token to destroy 1 card in your hand, and that card goes out of the game, which is interesting to remember because that allows you to actually get rid of curse cards, but if the stack of curse cards ever runs out and someone has to draw 1, you also lose the game. So you don't want to get rid of curse cards entirely, you just don't want to have them in hand, so to speak. And the last thing you can do is called place 1 or spend 1 blue token to spend a different card into your support. And the way that works is... I hope you can see that because that might be a little bit difficult to see. So each character card has 3 or 4 different slots up here, and if you spend a blue token, you can put any of your hand cards into the support to form the support pool among all players. And these are cards that everybody can access and kind of pretend as if they were on their hand. So this is a way for you to share cards with other players. When they're used, they go to your discard pile, and then, well, you have used the thing. But it's a way of setting up the next player. If you see, well, I have a 3 green token on hand and a blue 1, that's not enough to either defeat the green or the blue thing. But what I can do is put the 3 on here, and then maybe I have also a fart card on hand and activate the next player who has 1 green, and suddenly 4 green makes the curse go away. It's not terribly difficult. I guess you can follow that. Which is pretty cool. Also in the game are for each element 3 different, and those are on 3 different levels. You kind of randomize them at the beginning, but you have for all 4 elements 3 new spells out there, and you can only see the most top one, which you can purchase on your turn. And by the way, you can do as many actions as you want, as long as you can pay for them with those element cards. So you can start already thinking about what your next turn is going to be, even if it is not your turn, or you can try to see maybe you can help someone else out or get activated by someone. And these new spells are either usually a more powerful variant of what you have. So for example, there's one in here that is very similar to the activate another player, but says activate another player, and then they draw a card, which would upgrade this one. That is kind of important because you're limited usually to 5 spells per character. So if you buy a 6th spell, you have to replace one. And don't underestimate the amount of how important those 4 spells are that you start with. I'll get to that in a gameplay.
Funny stories experience kind of section?
It wasn't funny, but it was certainly an experience. So you can replace your spells and learn these new ones. I can perfectly identify with that. If I learn something new, I have to forget something old. Otherwise, I can't remember anything. Do we know each other?
What's my name?
Horst?
No, it's the universal
Helmut?
you. You know? Why do you give me boys' names? I'm a girl. Boobs? Girl? No? High-pitched voice?
So that's how you go through. As I said, one way to gain madness cards is you have to put them into your deck whenever you kind of reshuffle your discard pile. There's a ton of curses that bring you madness cards into your deck, and you can get rid of them either by destroying them, but that puts them out of the game, or you just spend 2 elemental tokens. It just has to be the same color to cure one, which puts them back onto the stack, and that is probably not as easy to see, but on the game board, as I said, you have the Book of Madness in the center. Madness card stack is here. Curses go down here, and you just move the book around here, and have the spells to buy around here, and supplies of elemental cards around the board for if you want to buy them or want to do something with them. I think
The only thing you didn't specifically say were the 4 colored curses and the round track, and so, otherwise you're good.
So the wooden wizard hat that comes with the game.
So cute. No!
Telekinesis! Even I can do it.
If you want me to bend over,
I just wanted her to show her powers.
She is alive.
I was pretending it would be my power. Anyway.
No.
Anyway, you can play on different difficulty settings, which is difficult, more difficult, and you go home and play a different game. And every game will always take 6 turns, because kind of that's how you compose this book and you move forward through this. So, plus again, you always know when you're kind of done, unless you have someone at the table arguing very long for what to do. As you start out here, you will also play these multicolored curses onto this board, and as you might be able to see, at first there are no other curses, but then you put 1 additional curse on here, and then you put 2 additional curses on here, so the last monster will actually have all 5 filled up. The 2 multicolored, and then 3 from the monster card itself. Making things a little bit more interesting and spicing the game up.
Oh yeah. Don't eat the cardboard. It's not...
I hit my tooth.
I don't care. It's not nutritious. And I don't want your saliva on the game board.
I think the madness thing is kind of taking over here.
Yeah, it does. So let's switch quickly to the likes and dislikes section. Do you want to keep going, or do you want to...
No, please. I need to cool my tooth on the...
hot coffee. Yeah, madness.
Not so hot coffee anymore.
So let's talk about what I liked first. Well, when the game... let's talk about the one thing I didn't like, and that's so not the game's fault, but I actually wanted this game to be part of his advent calendar, which we opened the last 4 weeks. But it wasn't available yet for purchase on the internet for the German market or any other market that I could access. So that was the one thing I didn't like, and that's, so goofy kind of reason. Anyway, what I liked. First, this is a yellow game, meaning
yellow.
that, yellow, meaning it's goddamn gorgeous. Yellow seems to be really, really, really good with any kind of artwork. It makes games very cutesy. It always has very good quality when it comes to any kind of components. And they're usually pretty good with the inserts of the games, and this game is no exception. So all my expectations for a yellow game are definitely met here. There's cute little gimmicks on game components, especially on the character sheets. Every one of these students has a very cute tiny creature that is also on the card, and you just have to look for it. And it's very, very, very sweet. Also, the manual is kind of thin and really well explained. There's only one or two things that were not explained in the game explanation kind of section itself, but rather on the example that was right next to it. And funny, I'm sometimes not reading the examples, so spoiler, we didn't play the first game totally right, but that's my fault. It's like,
we made it harder for ourselves than
we had to make it.
We should have.
Anyway, so just looking and touching all the components, awesome. So what I also really liked was the mixture of this being one, a deck building game, and second, a cooperative game. We don't have that often. We have that component or that mechanic more in competitive games. So I really liked that change of things here, to have the same mechanic in a cooperative game as well. And though you can do very many things on your turn, because, well, you just gotta pay for them, you're always kind of limited by what you draw, which cards you have on hand, what other people may have in their support pools, and don't make me laugh, please.
What? It's a book with a head. What do you want from me?
It distracts me so badly. And, well, it just adds for a lot of replayability that, well, your stack of hand, the cards that you have on your hand are always different. The curses are different, though they have kind of a repetition in there. On the theme, like most of the things make you draw madness cards, but in one game you can get rid of them rather easily, in others you can't, because you only draw so many spells for the library, and you draw this and that monster, and you do it randomly. So yeah, that just changes things up.
Although the game kind of helps you out there, so the if you haven't seen that, each monster card also has on the back side a hint what the next monster that you'll face will bring out in terms of curses, so you can always I really just liked that once you start the game, you kind of know where you're going, but before you start the game, you don't know at all. So I really like that kind of a replayability. So you can only anticipate so much, and you can only do so much. But if you draw really lucky with your hand, and you're kind of well organized in your game, you really have a chance of beating the game, having a lovely experience, and really work together. There's a lot of communication at the table, and I really like that. So this is a very involved game. This is a game that you could agonize about every move you make and try to play ahead, but you cannot really be an alpha player, though. Really? Because that is kind of the main complaint I've seen people have.
No, because you can always, you own your own turn, and you can try to be the alpha player, but there's other well, there's not only one solution to beating a monster. Right. So others can chime in and you can come to one...
Usually there is one solution to beat a
no, we had more than
situation
one.
More often.
It's the likelihood is if
we would play on a harder difficulty, I think it would become more apparent that there is only one way to...
We had, with the difficulty level we played at, we had two solutions and we could choose which one we thought is most likely for us to win, but it was more... I would say it's more like a brainstorming thing that happened than one player dominating the whole game. So that's why I say there's not really a chance for an alpha player, especially if you do not do the thing that we did, which is having our hand open at the table but having the cards in your hand. Then there is no chance for an alpha player because they don't see all of your cards and you can restrict an alpha player there.
I would say if you play this game with someone who is very vocal and is kind of the definition of an alpha player, there's not much that will keep him from being vocal throughout the game.
Yeah, he can be vocal.
What they do, and he might be very right about this. I think
still you can play your turn however you want it, so you can restrict.
Yeah, but I guess the difficulty there is with people who don't have the kind of...
The guts to speak up?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's in every game, so...
Yeah,
you gotta make... the turns... Or you gotta do at your turn what you want to do. That's in every game.
As you said, you can kind of mitigate that by keeping the cards secret. I don't remember. I think there's not an explicit rule that says to show them or to hide them. But I would say the way we play that, and you said that it's like a brainstorming session, and I mean when we recently talked about Chada and Torn, this is similar to that in terms of everybody can see everything and you exchange ideas to get to a solution.
And our communication was more like, oh, I can't do that, I can't do that, is there something you can do? It's not like, oh, if you do that, then we can do that. So it depends on the game group and not so much on the game itself, I think.
And I think that gets more difficult to track if you are playing with more players.
Yeah.
We played with 2 and 3. You can play...
You take away from the experiences already.
2 or up to 5 players, and I think if you're with 4 or 5,
it gets more difficult for an alpha player.
You can keep off track of what are the cards everybody has in front of them if you kind of play openly, and you can see what spells they have unused, but I think it's getting more difficult.
So I say you can really restrict an alpha player, and I like that. You can. It's more really like solving a problem kind of thing with the brainstorming, which I personally find very very satisfying.
Which is every cooperative game kind of.
But this does it. This has more focus on it, or it plays to that mechanic more. So this is... I don't want to really compare the games, but this is very close to Ghost Stories, feeling-wise. So the brainstorming, coming up with the solution is just as satisfying for me than it is with Ghost Stories, and that doesn't happen in every cooperative game for me.
I think for me this depends on kind of... There's 2 different ends to the spectrum. I would put something like Pandemic: The Cure on the far very alpha gamer resistant spectrum, because someone is rolling his or her own dice and then deciding to keep going or not doing. Obviously there's someone who can tell them what to do, and kind of that's the thing in general with that. But having a card mechanic kind of...
takes the luck factor away.
Yeah, and makes it more plannable, and that kind of feeds into people's desires to tell other people what to do.
Yeah.
So I would say if you have Pandemic, the cure on this end of the spectrum, and on the other hand, let me think. I think actually Andor is one of those games where it's heavily dependent on that. Even though you have dice rolls, but with Charter and Thorn, you don't even have the die rolls. Everything is deterministic, and you could theoretically muscle your way through a game telling everybody you have to do this and then you have to do that, and
you can play the game on your own.
Two-player game there. Yeah.
You could play it as one person. So.
And I think this one is
the fun in that.
This one is still in the middle, leaning a little bit to the
yes.
deterministic.
Yeah, but I really liked it, and I like the theme, like you being a student that screwed something up, and you gotta make it right again. Instead of saving the world, you just gotta make it right.
I mean, obviously it doesn't have the license, but this could be a Hogwarts themed thing.
Monsters.
I mean, it's more elemental based with the schools,
I like it.
But it's
a sweet theme, and I like that. I just forgot before I let you go on about your opinion.
No,
I get there. I like the small game board, but one thing that I don't like are those tiny cards. Well, yes, they're fine for me, but they're not fine for him. And since you're supposed to have the cards in your hand, it's just like, no. So we play with open.
Such big hands were not made for these tiny cards.
So usually I'm the one who's clumsy and throws cards to the ground when shuffling, but with this game it's him who's just at a disadvantage there. So that's one thing that I'm... But that's with every game that has those tiny cards, and you're supposed to have them in your hand.
Yeah, I think that in this game, you don't actually have to have them in your hands.
We just
and that's what
get around
do.
it.
We just put it onto the table. The thing that is a little bit annoying if you have big hands is, since this is a deck building game, you will end up shuffling those cards quite a bit. And that is then starting to get annoying. And,
but that's the only thing that I'm not really happy with, but that goes for every game that has those tiny cards. Yeah. And that's my 2 cents, or it was like 20. I'm chatty today. So you go for all of your opinions.
And to add to that, I think it's maybe I have to accept that this main target group for this game might be small humans or children, as you call them.
Oh, okay.
And they have less of a hard time shuffling these cards or playing with these cards than the big cards. Like, this is a good card size for my hand.
Yeah, it's like a blanket for me if I want to do.
It doesn't have to be the
no, just the usual size. That's fine. But yeah.
So what I like about this is that it is fairly difficult to. You have to always you have to look at what's coming up. You have to prepare your deck for that, and you have to kind of take a role in terms of, okay, I'm going to try to focus on these 2 elements or this 1 element. It's all depending on how many players are there, but to still be able to use some of your basic actions because you have to do them, but you want to get really high values in at least 1 color to be able to get rid of the curses, because to be honest, your starting cards are crap, because they're usually not good to defeat any curse, because you're always running 1 card or 2 cards short for most of the colors, except for 1 maybe. And while the powers of some of the students seem super useful and powerful, not all of them are for all occasions. It also greatly depends on what the spells are that come out. So there's a lot of variance in that, but it's, for me, the good kind of variance where it poses a challenge in forcing you to adopt different types of strategies and tactics to go forward. And I like that. I think it's worth having a game that does not let you win under all conditions, and that's the same feeling of what I get from Ghost Stories, and that's what I meant where I would agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
As I already said, I would not agree with you. I think if you have an alpha gamer at the table who is pretty dominant, this can be a very unenjoyable game. So you have been warned to, but I would give it a try.
Give it a double strong, very strong, pure whiskey to your alpha player. If he's not used to alcohol, you won't have an alpha player afterwards, and then you can play this.
You already mentioned I really like the artwork of almost all the games that Yellow is putting out. It's just, it has the comic-like nature. This looks like something I would see in a Harry Potter comic book version
or graphic novel. That's what they are called.
I wouldn't say this is. I would say it's a comic book. It's not the serious graphic novel, and the images are funny. That being said, it is still a very mechanical game. If you saw these cards and you know these are resources, you realize that this could theoretically have been almost anything, as long as you kind of replace these resource cards with anything that might relate to a theme that you're playing. But I very much like the thematic thing of working your way through a book and flipping over the pages, although this is a kind of flimsy business while you are doing that, because these are not bound together, so they will shuffle around.
It's a loose leaf book.
But it's cool. You're flipping over those pages, and you kind of know what's next, but you
don't know what curse comes with the entrance of the monster. You plan so nicely.
Something will be bad.
Yeah.
Since the madness mechanic is the only opposing thing that, even if you count the curses and they say, well, you have to discard your deck or you have to discard all fire cards or something like that, the only thing that really gets in your way are the madness cards, and I don't know, I think that's a little bit light on. Maybe I'm spoiled from other cooperative games by having a wider range of.
What does the... Oh, I have the box. I'm sorry. I'm just checking for the age 12 and older.
Just saying, it's not that I dislike it. I think it's just a little bit bland. You have all those spells, and yes, the madness cards are as bland, I would say, as the elemental points, and the interesting stuff happens looking at the monsters and the spells that are available, mostly to buy, because the 4 you start with are always the same and you know them. But I think that's all right. And comparing to other games we picked up this year from ELO, this is probably my favorite. We picked up some more of it. Although, again, to be fair, those what are they called? Tales and
the ones for the Hare and the Tortoise, where you always have a fairy tale and it's made into a game.
And obviously those are even more aimed at kids and being more simplistic. But this has the same art style, and that's kind of why I'm bringing this up. What I like about this game is that it is a game with that nice art style, but it is a little bit more involved. Same with King of Tokyo. Nice looking game, very simple, and don't misunderstand me. The reason that King of Tokyo is so simple is the reason why we bring it out quite often for like playing with parents or people who maybe
casual gamers
are playing that many board games. This is nice because this is really cool looking, but a little bit more involved. It's like the next step. You can bring this up,
and I really like that. This sounds so arrogant. It's like a real game, like a full-on real game, but with the cuteness factor of the sweet, light, tiny games of Yellow. And I like that they go into this direction, that they, march forward into that market as well. And that you excuse me for saying this, but that you don't have the Middle Ages or Renaissance themes on all of the heavy games and the cute monsters on all the light games. And I'm not saying that you liking Renaissance games or medieval games is totally shitty. It's not, but something new.
And I would go so far, if you have a kid that kind of is interested in this, that would have made a very fine Christmas present.
Yes.
Or maybe later.
There's birthdays.
Yes.
I hear. So, graduation gift. I don't know.
Maybe you can confuse them that they actually think that this is the thing that happens if you read books. So get them into reading books, because evil TV, evil YouTube. Oh wait.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go into rating before we tell them about the fuck-ups that we had while playing this game.
This is clearly kids-friendly.
It is. It means that adults are only humans as well, and not...
Humid.
Humid too, sometimes. Anyway, your rating?
My rating is, this gets a full 6 pages and a cover.
Boy, that's good. Well, on my personal scale of 1 to awesome, it's a very solid awesome. I really like this game, and I've been looking forward to it finally getting here. I was so disappointed that I couldn't order it for your advent calendar.
And that is kind of not a gameplay experience, but when we were at Essen, we saw this game, and looking at it, I was kind of hesitant, because I thought, well, this is one of those yellow games. It looks really nice, but I don't know if there's enough game in there to keep me interested. So we kind of decided, well, let's try to get a test play in, and then maybe pick it up if it's looking any good or any interesting. And well, unfortunately, other people either had the same thought, or we were just slow. We were slow.
You were the tortoise.
So we didn't get to play this game, although during the show we kind of noticed that quite a lot of people had good things to say about that. And after the show, this continued. So I kind of even tried on the last 2 days to pick up a copy, and there were none available because they sold out, which also
was like the
is
pandemic.
kind of a hint that.
Yeah, it was like the pandemic, the cure happening from the year before. It's like, yeah, but it's now it's here.
Yeah. So yeah, that should have at least be a hint for me to think, yeah, maybe there's something to this game, and there totally is. I can see why people pick this up as.
Yeah. So let's hop into the funny stories and experiences of our own gaming sessions. So we played it 3 times. Spoiler, first 2 times we sucked badly. 3rd time, we made it.
You almost wouldn't have gotten this video because we kind of wanted to win at least once to...
And see how it feels.
to see on the easiest difficulty.
Yeah.
To
we're
actually
pussies.
make the impression that we know what we're talking about.
So, first time playing just the 2 of us. 2nd time playing with 3 players. 3rd time playing just the 2 of us. So first time, as we already said, we made it actually harder than we had to, because we didn't share the support pool.
Yeah, we missed the point.
Yeah.
Well, it's
in the example. It's not in the text itself. So I didn't read it.
The manual is quite simple. There's not much in here, but sometimes you have these little info boxes, and that very important rule shows up there in the example space. And if I actually wanted to look this up, the rule we played wrong the 2nd time, and I had flipped through this thing maybe 3 times before I found it, which kind of tells you, well, you probably should give it a whole read. And just to resolve that, the thing that we screwed up is we thought, yes, you can put cards into your support pool, but we didn't realize that other players can access cards from your support pool, because it sounded or seemed like yes, the support pool is there, but it is a help to kind of store one of your cards for your next turn. And obviously, this makes things a little bit more difficult.
I would say a lot more difficult.
True.
It saved our ass quite a bit sharing the support pool, so that was kind of important, and we totally screwed up. But yeah, that was when we finished the first game. It was like the first time playing Ghost Stories. That's why it reminded me a lot of the. Oh shit! This is going to be a difficult game.
We are bad at this, is kind of, and realizing, okay, we lost because we're really bad at this. It seems we need to up our game.
And then it was like, oh no, you lost because you were just stupid and didn't read the rules right, or skipped the info boxes.
Same argument. Like, bad at the game.
Yeah, but not you. That would be on me and not on you at that point.
I should have never let you read the rules alone.
You were,
that was my patriarch moment, my rules patriarch.
Oh, you're so sweet to share the blame. Anyway, so that was the realization point of, oh, this is not a cute game. This is not one of the, I don't know, tiny fairy tale books of
bites like
a lion or something. It's like, yeah. Okay, so we tried it second time with the right rules. 3 players. Didn't make it either. We didn't even get to that last page, did we?
And I would say I think we lost there because we were not dividing up tasks. Who does what?
Yes, who collects what elements? Yeah, that's what we actually. So third time round, we went at this really structured and organized, like a science project or something. We took 2 characters not of the same color.
2 carrots?
Carrots, yeah, orange. A purple one and an orange, whatever. So we chose different colored characters. We chose 2 elements for every character to collect. So mine were fart and water, and yours was earth and fire. And together we made a band and had lovely songs. What? So and that worked out really well. We only had a basic set of the respective other colors that we didn't collect, and really got to the 2 and 3 element cards for the main color for us. So we had a lot of the I activate you for an action, and we had a lot of the cases that we said, okay, I'm going to destroy these 2 curses, and you are going to destroy these 2 curses, and usually we were done with all the curses of the board latest by turn 4. Most times it was even turn 3 that we had everything wiped out of the board.
That last game where I would say everything clicked. We were so powerful that it really felt like, okay, this probably is actually the easy difficulty.
Because it was kind of horrifying before that. It's like, we play on easy and we screw up that
but we picked characters. I mean, we tried to pick characters intelligently before, but that wasn't as smart as it seemed to be. But in that run, we had a good setup in terms of abilities
and the other thing that we changed up is not necessarily learning the spells in the color of your character, but having the spells being at least one of each color for every player. And now you can...
And not getting rid of the spell that kind of...
Never get rid of the combustion spell if you don't have another spell that does that kind of thing for you.
I thought... So playing with those 4 starting spells, I thought, they're neat, but probably you can
upgrade
get rid of one at least.
No.
And I think the most useful on that one is, especially if you're playing with multiple players, is the air spell that allows you to activate another player.
Second one is the blue one that puts something into your pool, I think.
Yeah, and allows to share a card, so to speak. Then I thought, well, the green one is pretty good too, and I don't want to get rid of that because that allows me to draw another card, and that gives me kind of the draw of the luck, luck of the draw. Sorry, to maybe get that one element that I was missing to get rid of a curse. So I thought, yeah, the fire spell, yeah, it's cool to be able to destroy a card, but me being in my untrained magician's mind, I thought, well, this is probably like any other deck building game. You use that to just get rid of your trash cards, your low value cards, and then optimize your deck.
No.
Oh boy, I did not realize that it gets really, really difficult to get rid of curses once you have like 3 or 4 on hand.
And by curses he means the madness cards, not the
I'm
curses.
sorry.
No problem.
We were cursing. Yeah, if you for some reason end up with 3 cards, curse cards on madness cards on. See, it got me already. On hand, and haven't already upgraded your other things to like the 2 element thing, it's really difficult to get rid of them or to get them into support, because even if you have a blue one, you can only put 1 into support, and for some reason they just kept on stacking up and really annoyed me. So being able to delete 1 or destroy 1 entirely would have helped a lot there. So
yes,
those 4 spells at the beginning, they seem like, yeah, this is great, but not. You don't really need that. You'll buy the important ones. No, they are really very important base actions that you need to be able to do for most cases. So if you need a starting hint, I would say you want to buy spells. You don't want to buy all the spells, which is something I think we did on our first game, which maybe might be the misleading thing. We went very far with buying spells up.
I
bought a lot of spells at least.
6 spells on the first game. Second game I had 5 spells, and third game I had 6 spells.
You mean 5? Well, 5 is the maximum.
Yeah, I didn't destroy any of my first game. In the second game I bought 1 spell. And that was that.
No, I mean, oh yeah. So you bought 6, but you had to destroy 1 of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I think on the first game I bought 7 or 8. I think I had 2 replaced with that. Which is fine, but since you don't know what spells will be available for each game, there's some are really useful, some are not so much useful. Yeah, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard me say this along for different games, but I like games that give you, like, this is the running starting condition, try to figure out how to survive, go. And this is one of those games.
Yes. And that's a perfect way to end this video. For us to have a little pause before we shoot the review of 2015 that will be out an hour after this one got published. So if you
stick around,
if you see it right after release this video, you should be able to see the next one, I guess, in 10 minutes.
I guess so. And you know what? If you don't have time in 10 minutes or in an hour, another great way to do that is to subscribe to this channel. Do it now. Do it anyway. Or
don't do the goddamn Austrian accent.
No, it's
the Arnie accent. It's an accent for one person.
The German accent.
No, it's not. We don't talk like that.
Always.
Austrians do.
Always. No, Germans also talk.
Yeah, we have...
the YouTube, you need to click it and then the...
That's the German one. We don't have the blah, 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 blah. That's Austrian.
The TH problem. Now,
what is TH? What is age? Age is just a number. No, for reals now. We will have the review of 2015 up in about 10 minutes. If you watch this video right after the release, if you watch it way later, well then it's already there. So click on the other video as well, because it's our end of year gift to you.
And if it happens to be 2037, then sorry, you're late. But we talk about 2015 anyway.
Yeah, it's like vintage games for you. Anyway, so as he already said, do the subscribing if you like these kinds of videos. Also, if you have any questions or comments, other comments, leave them in the comment section below. And as he already does, find this button and press it. Thank you. We will see you in the next video. If you don't want to watch it, well, thanks for watching this one, and see you with the next game on the 9th of January 2016. Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Tschüss.